Have you ever wondered if we could deplete Earth's oxygen? Before we dive into this intriguing question, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Oxygen, my friends, is not just an element on the periodic table. It's a life-sustaining gas that makes up about 21% of our atmosphere. Without it, life as we know it would cease to exist. But could we ever run out of it? Now let's delve into the science behind this fascinating question. To understand this, we first need to understand where our oxygen comes from. Let's start with the most well-known source, photosynthesis. Green plants, algae, and certain bacteria take in carbon dioxide from the air, soak up some sunlight, and voila, they produce oxygen as a byproduct. It's like a magic trick Mother Nature performs every day. But plants aren't the only oxygen producers on the block. There's also the ocean. Tiny marine plants called phytoplankton, not bigger than a pinhead, also perform photosynthesis, contributing a significant amount of the world's oxygen. The Earth's crust is another source. When it erodes, it releases oxygen into the atmosphere. Even outer space plays a role. Oxygen atoms high in the Earth's atmosphere can be energized by sunlight to make molecular oxygen. So, the question becomes, what would happen if these sources were to suddenly disappear? Imagine a world where photosynthesis abruptly stops. Photosynthesis, as we know, is the primary process by which plants, algae, and some bacteria convert light energy, usually from the sun, into chemical energy in the form of glucose. This process simultaneously produces oxygen as a byproduct, thus supplying the Earth's atmosphere with the life-sustaining gas we all breathe. Now, let's delve into a hypothetical scenario where this crucial process comes to an abrupt halt. The immediate effect would be a halt in the production of new oxygen. But it's not just about oxygen. Without photosynthesis, plants would be unable to produce glucose, their energy source. This would have a cascading effect on the entire food chain, spelling disaster for all life forms that depend on plants for sustenance, including us humans. But let's keep our focus on oxygen. Earth's atmosphere contains approximately 21% oxygen, a reserve that wouldn't disappear overnight. In fact, it would take thousands of years for the existing oxygen to deplete fully. However, the quality of life would begin to suffer much sooner. As oxygen levels drop, breathing would become increasingly difficult, particularly for animals, including humans. A long-term effect would be the disappearance of the ozone layer, which is formed by oxygen molecules and shields the Earth from harmful ultraviolet radiation. Without this protective layer, life on Earth would be exposed to intense UV rays, leading to increased rates of skin cancers and eye cataracts, and disrupting ecosystems. The cessation of photosynthesis would also dramatically affect our climate. Carbon dioxide, which is absorbed by plants during photosynthesis, would build up in the atmosphere, intensifying the greenhouse effect and causing global temperatures to skyrocket. This, in turn, could lead to extreme weather conditions and rising sea levels. Sounds like a grim scenario, doesn't it? But don't lose hope just yet. Remember, this is a hypothetical scenario. In reality, photosynthesis is a robust and resilient process, having survived and adapted over billions of years. So, while it's fascinating to ponder a world without photosynthesis, rest assured that our green friends are working tirelessly to keep our planet oxygenated. Remember, photosynthesis isn't the sole provider of our oxygen. Indeed, the green leafy world of plants and trees does a stellar job in producing oxygen. But they're not the only game in town. There are other sources, less recognized perhaps, but no less significant. Let's dive into the deep blue oceans, shall we? The oceans, covering over 2/3 of our planet, house tiny microscopic organisms called phytoplankton. These little creatures, almost invisible to the naked eye, are oxygen-producing powerhouses. Just like their terrestrial counterparts, phytoplankton also use photosynthesis, converting sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water into glucose and oxygen. It's estimated that these minute marine marvels contribute up to half of the world's oxygen. That's right, every second breath we take, we owe to these tiny titans of the sea. But what if we lose photosynthesis on land? Could the oceans pick up the slack? Well, there's a bit of a catch. Phytoplankton rely on nutrients from the ocean's depths to flourish, and these nutrients are often brought up by the churning of ocean currents. Any significant changes to these currents, such as those caused by climate change, could potentially disrupt this nutrient supply. Thus, while the oceans might be able to compensate to some extent, they're not a fail-safe solution. There are other less abundant sources of oxygen too, like the splitting of water molecules in the upper atmosphere due to solar radiation. This process, known as photodissociation, contributes a small fraction to our overall oxygen supply. So, while we can't entirely rely on these other sources to compensate for the loss of photosynthesis on land, they do play a crucial role in maintaining our planet's oxygen balance. It's a delicate dance of nature, each part playing its role, contributing to the breath of life as we know it. So, it seems like we might have a fighting chance after all. But what about human activities? Could we, in theory, use up all the Earth's oxygen? Interesting thought, isn't it? Well, let's dive into it. Each of us inhales about 5 to 8 liters of air per minute. Now that's a lot of oxygen, but compared to the total amount of oxygen in the atmosphere, it's like trying to empty an Olympic-sized swimming pool with a teaspoon. You see, the Earth's atmosphere holds roughly 1 quintillion liters of oxygen. Yes, that's a 1 followed by 18 zeros. Even with 7 billion people breathing in and out every second, it would take us several million years to deplete all the oxygen in the atmosphere through respiration alone. And that's not even accounting for the oxygen that's continuously being replenished by plants and algae through photosynthesis. So, unless we manage to wipe out all plant life and somehow stop breathing, it's pretty unlikely we'd ever use up all the oxygen. However, it's important to note that even though we can't deplete the Earth's oxygen through breathing, human activities like deforestation and pollution can still greatly impact oxygen levels and the overall health of our planet. So breathe easy, it looks like we're not going to run out of air anytime soon. But let's remember, our actions do have consequences, and we should strive to protect the lungs of our planet, the forests and the oceans, for ourselves and future generations.